This video is about Tartaria, the Tartarian Empire, one of the greatest topics, personally, I think, to talk about in a long time. And it's become such an influence on my art that I can't even imagine what it was like without knowing about this. And I'm shocked that this stuff was around without us truly realizing. With that being said, take what I say with a grain of salt. Really explore everything. These are just my thoughts, and I love thinking about it. It combines a lot of different areas of research and different things that I've seen and experienced. And so take what you will, and again, I don't claim anything to be true. Nobody should. So here's an old picture of Boston in the center, right around the Boylston area with the library and the church right there. And this is an old building that blew my mind when I saw it. The top of this building has just angels and different statues that are just Romanesque. Everything is unbelievably immaculate. These structures are huge compared to what was around now. They are just girthy. They could survive anything. The ones now are they look really nice. They're really tall, but they don't look like they could survive much of a weathering. Whereas that stuff built in the past, which was built in the same time that all those houses around the suburbs that are just made out of wood were built. Horse-drawn carriage, all this stuff. Something doesn't add up. So I went around Boston during one of my first excursions, and I took a lot of pictures of just things that I like. Art influences, great patterns, really old-looking things, anomalies, all that kind of good stuff. So I found some interesting things that are just modern sculptures. You can tell some aren't old, but a lot of stuff definitely is old. That's just a modern and someone's above city apartment. But look at these designs. These designs are amazing, and they lead to a culture that I don't think we know anything about, or a lot of the stuff about it has been hidden. Like, why would the people that our ancestors build these kind of things for no purpose at all? For pure artistic expression, it just doesn't make sense. All of it had to have some form of meaning, which we are completely blind to at this current point. These things are some serious structures that you'd find all over Europe, dating back to the 1300s, 1200s, well before. I don't know if any of those dates can really be trusted. I'm sure some can, a lot of things, but the overall history just seems a lot different than what we've been taught. And this way of thinking is beautiful. Look at these ornamentations on these outsides of these buildings that are just on Commonwealth Ave in Boston, right next to Newbury Street. I pretty much just circled the Commonwealth, Newbury, Boylston area, and there's so much more to Boston. But these things, these amazing things, they could have all had a purpose. What could have been tethered to that? All of these things, all these buildings that now say certain things, have they always said those things? You never know. A lot of things all seem to be built around the same mysterious 1860s-ish time. And there just seems like way too much was built during that time. There's a lot of mystery about all of these things. Look at this building with giant stones and then brick building covering it recently. All this underground area, this door, something that was there, these huge stones. Every time you see those rough stones, they're everywhere. And maybe a lot of the rough stones that you see in the local woods are just, were dynamited, but used to at one point be smooth like this stuff. These gold tops, I have a feeling gold was everywhere. The San Francisco gold rush was probably just a pillaging of these buildings, taking all their gold, stashing it somewhere. But look at these orbs must have had something on them. I can imagine the color being on these things, very amazing. They probably whitewashed it at some point. 1665, this church says. So, and this is way before the time of a lot of those just stick buildings. And this thing is immaculate. This looks like it's from Notre Dame. Incredible mandala. Might have had a powerful frequency to its formula. Its formula could have been special. A light shining through it. Sound resonating within it. All of it working amazingly. They could have been some kind of machine coming out of there, and then inevitably they just put glass on it. This is a very nice church. A very big, massive old building. And within this block of Boston, there's like 5 churches like this. Several of them have been kind of taken down and remodeled a little bit, but the remnants are really there. And this is that central one from the first image that I showed with the old city. And this building is incredible. And there's a lot of different saints and different things on there. And and I'm not doubting that the Catholic Church built a lot of these things, but I also kind of am. A lot of stories could have been You know, if you just alter the text and the carving underneath some of the statues that are on those churches, then you can completely change the name of someone in history and just write in who you want. Like, you look at the top of these buildings. What would that be for? Nowadays, our buildings are flat. Look at this unbelievable, another amazing mandala everywhere. These had a purpose. These had something. Something would be utilized with those. This is an amazing tower that I've always wanted to be inside. The place looks amazing. The tops of which, you know, they could have just been in touch with the ether, just generated power throughout each building, resonating heat throughout. The dial you could turn up and down, power all over the cities. A new movie just came out, The Current War, and they just talk about how there was never any power before 1860, and I just do not believe that. You know, these buildings, 1660s, have these tops that are just... And, you know, people have been observing lightning for a long time. I have a feeling they were able to capture it a long time ago. But look at some of these amazing sculptures. You'd never see this stuff nowadays. They would never dedicate any of these kind of things all over the place to the Pope now, or to, you know, do we have holy people like this anymore? Like, this hints towards a past that's just magical, like where people were much more in touch with everything except technology. People were in touch with nature. They were in touch with the spirit. They were in touch with their craft. Like, this construction is immaculate. Everyone nowadays should be inspired by this stuff to no degree, to the fact that we don't create like this anymore. Yet we should. These things portray an energy that's just that's powerful, that makes you feel in awe. And even the fact that we haven't even really been realizing that these things, these really old, mysterious things of a somewhat different history than we've been told, have been lurking everywhere. And now I see them in every town, and I just completely envision like what this place really was, the people who were really here. Because I bet it was all based on peace, love, friendship, working together, nature, spirit, magical realm, all these different things that were just so much better. Look at these columns, all this stuff, ancient Romanesque. And you're going to see a pattern right now that coming up in the library, right on the trim of the Boston Public Library, is this, the ancient swastika pattern. And this is there, been since however long, one of the most ancient patterns around. This city has a history that we do not know about, but we need to find out about. Everybody must take note of the photographic record that is being rediscovered. There are people like John Levy and Flat Earth British, Martin Liedtke, and many, many more. New Earth. It is an unbelievable way of thinking, and it leads to just so many different possibilities, and that's what's important. So much of history and school and indoctrination and programming is all about making sure we don't think anything beyond a specific set storyline. And we must think beyond that, because our souls need it. Our spirits need this potential of a past that is just absolutely perfect in every way. We need to know our true history. If we keep believing in lies, we as a human species are going to suffer from that. The psychological effects are incredibly negative. There is a large amount of doubt that can be cast on the history we've been taught, and we should not believe it too much longer. We really shouldn't. We must continue to think about and discover our true nature. It is the only way we will really be able to appreciate every instant of life as the miracle that it really is. And all this hate that we're taught in the media and all these different people that are just leading us astray with false information, that bombarding us from every area of food, every area of life and thought. It needs to change. Research Tartaria and the Tartarian Empire. We all must find out our true history. Thanks.